Check, 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 check. Okay, so you guys see we got new Bibles. There was these ones. See, Leo's muscles are too big. So these ones were good, but when we used them, some of the pages started falling apart. They're not really high quality. So this is like a basic Bible. So you guys have graduated now. You're professionals. So this is a different Bible. We've got the New Beginnings Bible. So we were on page 12. And who were we talking about? I'm just testing this. Yeah, after Noah, there was another guy. Page 13, Genesis 13. That works. So, what was his name before he was Abraham? Abraham. Yeah, I'll go. I'm just playing around here. Abraham. And what do we remember about him from last time? Anything? Good things? Bad things? You what? No, Noah had the boat. He had a son with a maid. Wait? That's gonna come. That's coming soon. Do you remember when he was lying? He told a lie. Anybody remember the lie Abraham told? Yeah, he said, this lady is the sister. And so then he got kicked out of what country? Yeah, he was in. So they were like, if somebody marries your wife, thinking she's your sister, the entire country, the whole country. So he got kicked. Yeah, page 13. So he got kicked out of Egypt because he was lying. Okay, so let's do chapter 13. This is Abraham and one of his family members. You see what the name of the family guy is? Family guy? Abraham and Lot. And he was a lot to handle because he was not a great cousin. So do you guys ever have problems in your family? Maybe there's fighting sometimes. So Abraham and Lot, they start having problems. Yeah. Page 13. So page 13 in Genesis 13. Lucky 13. Yeah. So start this one. So yeah, that'll be next. So this one on the on that side, because the Bible's so big, they try to put 2 columns on each page. So 13. Okay, so Daniel, you can start and do 2 verses. You guys okay? 2 each. So Abraham left Egypt, and which way did he go? Negative. Okay, on who? Okay, so who was the wife and Shawn. Yo. Yeah, you want to try? This is what Haley said.
Hello.
Then people can hear these guys reading the Bible. Shawn and friends read the Bible, right?
Yep. So Abraham left Egypt and traveled north into the Negev along with his wife and Lot and all that they owned.
Yep.
Abraham was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold.
Woo! Okay, pass it over. Number.
From the Negev, Negev. No, what? From negative, they. No, what? Negative, like, yeah.
Where did they travel?
From the Negev, they continued traveling
They went to this place we were talking about
by stages towards Bethel, and they pitched their tents between Bethel and Ai.
So this is when AI was invented.
Where they had camped before. This was the same place where Abram had built the altar, and there he worshipped the Lord again.
Right?
The Lord again.
What? Remember we were talking about building an altar. What was the altar? What did he do when he went to a certain place? He'd stop and make like a little bunch of stones. Oh yeah, I got to talk into this thing. Make a bunch of stones, and then he worshiped God along his journey. And so it's good for us if something good happens. So you saw Silas just finished his school. He graduated. He got a certificate. So he bought a Lamborghini. No, he didn't actually. That was just a joke. But we have to stop and thank God, right, for getting us this far in life. So it's important every time we get to like, soon you're going to graduate from school. So that's what Abraham did. Whenever he went somewhere, he built an altar and he, what does it say? He worshiped the Lord again. So on to verse 5. Now it's is Lot his nephew or something?
Lot was traveling with Abram, had also became very wealthy with flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and many tents. But the land could not support both Abraham and Lot. with all the flocks and herds living so close to
Lot. At that time, Canaanites and Canaan what choice of any section of the land you want, and we will separate if you want. The land to the left, I'll take. Then I'll take the land on the right, if you prefer. The land on the right, then I'll go to the left. Okay, that's it.
Okay, so what is another word for disputes? You know, Drake and Kendrick had beef, right? Diss track, conflict. And so the conflict was Abraham and all of his guys were fighting with Lot and all of his guys. So who was the first person that tried to solve the problem? So it's Abram, yeah. Abram's like, whoa, we don't want to have any beef here. The way to squash the beef is, he said, it's okay. Whatever you want, you choose. You want the right side? Take the right side. You want the left side? The left. I just want to stop the fighting. And a lot of times, if we want to stop fighting, some of us are better at fighting than others. So like when I got married, you know, Haley's family, they don't really have fights with each other. They just kind of are so nice and so friendly, right? And then I'm always fighting, right? I'm always trying to make my point and win the argument. And so when you say, you choose whichever way that you want, you're actually, like Abram's actually losing something, you know? He's choosing to lose before the fight instead of fighting and then losing. So this is shows us he's a good guy. And then I guess Lot, let's see what happens. Where does Lot go? So this is verse 8 or 10. Yeah. Let me try it. Let's see if this works.
Lot took a long look at the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zoar. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, or the beautiful land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah.
Get canceled if I say Sodom and Gomorrah on the stream. Okay, so Lot's looking and he says, I want the good stuff, the good part. So that means Abraham is taking the less. Oh yeah. So he looked, he said, I want the good stuff. I'm going to go this way. And then, so Abraham lost that, right? He doesn't get to have the land for all of his sheep. Okay.
Lot chose for himself the whole Jordan Valley to the east of them. He went there with his flock and servants and parted company with his uncle Abram. So Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot moved his tent to the place near Sodom and settled among the cities of plain. But the people of this area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against the Lord.
Ooh. Yeah. So next. So then 14. Now.
After Lot had gone, the Lord said to Abram, "Look as far as you can see in every direction, north and south, east and west. I am giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendant as a permanent possession."
Yeah, sure. And I will give so many of your descendants. Yeah. This is the promise. God's promise. Yeah, 16:2.
And I will give you so many descendant that, like the dust of the earth, they cannot be counted.
Crazy. Okay. So this. Thanks. Let's hope this works. We'll see if the audio is better this week. So think about the promise. Remember how old was Abram when God asked him to leave and go to some other place? You remember how old he was?
It was like in his 100 years.
Yeah. So at first he was 75. So at this time, Lot is all he's got as his nephew. So God says, I'm going to give you so many descendants. You're going to have people all over the world. And he's like, I just have my nephew and I let him take the good part of the land. So he's got, Sarah, his wife that he lied about. He's got Sarah, but 0 children. And so again, think about after he just gave away like half of everything he owned to Lot. He said, okay, you go to the good spot. We don't want to fight here. He was probably feeling a little bit sad. Like, when is this going to happen, God? You gave me a promise and I'm believing you. I left where I live. I went to AI and AI was not a good place. So then he leaves and went to all these other places. And then he said, I thought maybe Lot would be, one of my descendants. So maybe he's kind of sad. He lost. And then God says, don't worry. I'll give you, what was it? So many descendants that you can't count them? What was it? Verse 16. What does it say there? Anybody can see that? Like the dust of the earth. How much dust is in the earth? Right? Like billions and billions. So now we know everybody comes from Abraham. We did that whole thing before. And so, he's trying to believe God. He's got the promise and he's kind of like, okay. So sometimes God will remind you, it's okay. You can trust me. It's just not the right time yet. And I think it was from when he was 75 to 99 when he had a kid. So it was 24 years. So this was not in Ai or in the Jordan Valley. It doesn't say where he was. It just says where Lot went to. So, yeah, Lot. So 18, Abram moved his camp to Hebron. So this is where, he's chilling in Hebron. I don't have the map here. And then Lot went to, next to Israel is Jordan. So it's like the Jordan Valley, this nice, amazing place. But the people were evil. So this shows what kind of people that Abraham was like, I don't want to fight. You take the good stuff. I'll settle for the bad stuff. And Lot was like, this place looks good, but the people are bad. So he chose, maybe he was a bit more selfish, right? And maybe, in your family, some of your brothers or sisters, they always want to choose the best thing. They never want to lose out on anything, right? They want to get the best. And if you have brothers, they're fighting to be like the best. So Abram is a good guy who decided, you know what, forget this. We don't want to fight. And so then what happens next after verse in chapter 14? So then war breaks out. Yeah, chapter 14. So Abram's in Hebron, Lot's in Jordan, and then what kind of war happens?
So, about this time, war broke out in the region. King Amraphel of Babylonia, King Arioch of Elasar, King Kedorlaomer of Elam,
Good job with the names.
and King Tidal of Goim fought against King Bera of Sodom, King Birsha of Gomorrah, King Shinab of Admah, King Shemaber of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, also called Zor. The second group of kings joined forces in Siddim Valley, that is the valley of the Dead Sea. For 12 years they had been subjected to King Kedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled against him. Should I continue?
Yeah, this is a lot of names. Let's skip some of this stuff here.
Okay.
So war breaks out, fighting happens, and then verse 5, these guys arrived, they defeated these guys, the Zurites. Verse 7, they turned back and came to this place, conquered everybody. Then the kings, so it's a lot of like history, right? So let's turn the page. Then we go to verse 11. Yeah. So let's go to verse 11. So Leo, go for 11 about what happened in this Sodom and Gomorrah place.
Where is it?
Next page.
11.
Yeah, these ones.
Yeah, first time fell into
So they're
the.
going to start talking about the Sodom and Gomorrah place. Why are they talking about the war
Oh.
and all these kings and everything? Because the
victory.
Sodom and Gomorrah is like, this is the setup for what happened at Sodom and Gomorrah, which is
The victors invest in Palander, Sodom, and was it Gomorrah? Gomorrah, and head for home, taking with them all the spoils of war and the food supplies. They also captured a lot.
who? Oh, they didn't just take all the stuff. They captured this Lot guy. So Abraham is chilling. He's not part of this war. He's the peacemaker. And all of a sudden, he gets a text. Hey, bro, help. I got captured in the war. Remember me? I'm your nephew. I took all the good stuff. I left you with all the bad land. I didn't really care about you. I just wanted all the good stuff. Oh, now I got captured in this war. So Lot got carried off. What does it say? They captured Lot in verse 12. So he gets captured. And back then, maybe they're not that friendly. Maybe they don't follow the Geneva Convention. They don't give them all their rights and you have the right to remain silent. They just probably tie this guy up and then they're going to use him to get more. They're going to bargain with Abram. So Abram's like, this dude, I gave him all the best stuff. Then he gets captured. This guy's ridiculous. And now Abram's got probably he's going to get the phone call, right? Can you get me out of jail here, bro? So let's see what happens next. So Lot's captured.
But one of Lot's men escaped and reported everything to Abram. Then the Hebrew who was living near to Oka drove belonging to Mara the Amorshti, Mamre, and his relative Eshcol and
these names are brutal. Where's Alex?
Abram.
So verse 14. So this is Abram's response. Is he going to do something? Or is he going to be like, you know what, bro? You chose this area. You went and live in this bad region. So you think what do you guys think? Put your hands up. Do you think he's going to save Lot because he's a good guy? Or he's going to say, sorry. So he's going to save him or he's not going to save him? What do you think?
Not gonna save him.
Save him, not going to save him, right? He's his nephew. But Abram, think about what he did last time there was a fight. He said, okay, fine. And he made peace and helped. So let's see what happens. Abram with his big boss move in verse 14. So yeah, Joab, read 14 then.
Where is it? Okay. When Abram heard that his nephew Lot had been captured, he mobilized the 318 trained men who had been born into his
Boom!
house. Oh.
Abram's like, send out 318 assassin ninjas that were raised in his house. Maybe Abram himself, taught him like Karate Kid how to be whatever. But they were trained killers. Maybe they were trained killers. Let's check the Hebrew on that for sure. 318 trained men. This is shows how rich Abram was, right? He split his inheritance with his nephew. So he sends them out. Let's see what happens to these guys. Then he pursued. Oh no.
Then he pursued Kedorlaomer's army until he caught up with them at Dan.
Dun, dun, dun. What happens at Dan? You think they have a peace treaty or it's just like massacre? Okay, 15. Let's go. 15.
There he divided his men and attacked during the night.
Nighttime raid. They were ninjas. These guys are the same guys who took out Osama bin Laden, right? Nighttime raid with helicopters. Sorry, go.
Kedorlaomer's army fled, but Abram chased them as far as Hobah.
Who chased them?
Abram.
So Abram was with the 318 ninjas? He's coming in there. Tranquilizer guns and gas masks and major Navy SEALs. Abram himself is with these guys. So he didn't just send these dudes out and say, okay, go get my nephew. I guess he was with them, right?
Yeah.
He chased them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. And then verse 16. Okay, last verse of this for today.
Abram recovered all the goods that had been taken.
Boom!
And he brought back his nephew Lot with his possessions
Boom!
and all the women and other
He
captives.
saved the women and the children. Boom! How many big booms is that? 318 big booms, right? Yeah. So let's see if this worked, if this was a good idea with a microphone. But imagine Abram could have been like, look, dude, you screwed up. You chose this other area. Oh, you got yourself captured. What a dork. We'll just leave him. But Abraham and the 318 trained men, I want to see what the Hebrew says about that. If the Jews have any history about like these guys, maybe they had like bows and arrows. What kind of weapons did they have back then? They're throwing rocks. They got slingshots. Bow and arrow. Yeah. Crossbow. They got a trebuchet. They got those are middle. Yeah.
Maces, hammers.
Sling, mate. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. So we'll see. But this is the kind of person that Abram is. God makes him a promise. So he's like, okay, I got to be the guy. I can't just let them take my nephew like that. So that's another part. So he hasn't changed his name yet. He's still Abram. So that's Abram and his nephew with the weird name, who was a lot. He was a lot to deal with, right? He was causing him lots of problems. He had a lot of warriors that had to go and find him. And Lot picked the land, the wrong lot, right? So that's the another part of the Abram. Abram, the warrior king, with his 318 gangster assassins. Okay, I'm gonna.
Bye guys. Good night.